end on 33-04 kickoff as the ACC crowns its top team in 2021 on Saturday from Charlotte. We welcome you into the Moss Arts Center. I'm Jake Lyman. He's Tyler Katz, and we'll be joined by our reporters Nels Williams, Aiden Butler, and Katie Adams later on in the show. Looking at this matchup, Tyler, maybe not the one we expected heading into the season. Wake and Pitt both having some magical runs to get to 10 wins and find themselves in this game.
Yeah, and for both teams, it's been a long time coming to get back to the ACC championship game. For Wake Forest, it's their first time since the 2006 season. For Pitt, a bit more recently, having lost the 2018 ACC championship game to Clemson. But Jake, it's important to note that with a win, both teams could be going to their first New Year's Six Bowl in quite some time. For the Pitt Panthers, that was all the way back in 2004. For Wake Forest, back in 2007 when they went to the Orange Bowl. But in a conference that has been so dominated by Clemson, it's a breath of fresh air to see two new teams.
It definitely is. Again, Pitt was picked 4th in the Coastal, Wake Forest 5th in the Atlantic. And you mentioned the New Year's Six Bowl. Wake has never won a New Year's Six Bowl in their history, and Pitt, you have to look all the way back to 1981 to find their last New Year's Six win. And you mentioned Clemson. It has been a dominant 6 years for Clemson in the ACC. And for more on that stretch from the Tigers, we send it down to Nels Williams.
Well, if you're a fan of parody in your college football games, then this is most likely an ACC championship that you would like to tune into. As for the first time since 2015, the Clemson Tigers will not be fighting for the #1 title in the ACC. This is also the first time since 2008 that neither the Tigers or the Florida State Seminoles, who last made and won the title in 2014, will be participating in the championship game. Earlier in the regular season, Clemson lost to the Pittsburgh Panthers in Week 7, 27-17, but then mightily beat the Wake Forest Demon Deacons 48-27 in Week 11. They then finished off the regular season with a 9-3 overall record, sitting behind Wake Forest and NC State in the Atlantic Division, who they were stunningly upset by in Week 4. So, is this a changing of the guard in the ACC? Only time will tell. Clemson still has a very strong football program, spearheaded by their head football coach, Dabo Swinney, and still has a lot of 5-star and 4-star recruits coming up their 2022 pipeline. But after winning the last 6 straight ACC titles, it's time for the Clemson Tigers to hand over the #1 title in the ACC, for now, to a new team.
Well, after 6 long years of a Tigers dynasty, it was always going to be tough to finally topple them in the ACC championship game. And for Pitt and Wake Forest, one big reason they found themselves in Charlotte is due in part to their high-powered offense.
Yeah, Tyler, don't expect much defense in this game because these offenses have been phenomenal. Some of the best in the country all year long. Currently 4th and 5th for Pitt and Wake Forest, respectively, in scoring, just under 43 points per game. Currently, the total for this game set in the 70s. Tyler, I wouldn't be surprised if we get up 80s, 90s, 100s. I think we're going to see a lot of scoring in an exciting game on Saturday in Charlotte.
Well, one reason that the Pitt Panthers have been able to run up the scoreboard so far this season is due in part to their high-powered passing offense led by quarterback Kenny Pickett. For more on him, we'll send it down to our reporter in Katie Adams.
Wake Forest and Pitt fans won't be the only ones tuned into the ACC championship game this weekend, but also fans of NFL teams in need of a quarterback of the future. Of course, they'll be watching Kenny Pickett. After Pickett decided to return to Pitt for his 5th season, he'd hoped to up his draft stock and lead his team to an ACC championship. After throwing for over 4,000 yards, 40 touchdowns, and breaking former Pitt great Dan Marino's single-season passing touchdown record, he's surely done just that. Pickett has elevated his game from a likely 5th-round pick in 2021 to a night 1 pick in this year's draft. But before he begins his NFL career, there are certainly several goals at hand, including taking home the Heisman Trophy. Although Alabama's Bryce Young is the favorite, a stellar performance from Pickett on Saturday would certainly boost his odds in New York. Under the leadership of Pickett, the Panthers will look to achieve their first 11-win season since 1981, and with the conference full of elite quarterbacks, he'll have one final shot to prove that the sky's the limit for Pickett.
Yeah, Katie's right there. Kenny Pickett, maybe the most important part of this historic Panthers season, possibly the best quarterback season at Pittsburgh since Dan Marino was there about 4 decades ago. But Tyler, you don't get very far as a star quarterback without somebody good to throw it to.
Yeah, Jordan Addison, by far Kenny Pickett's favorite target. 85 receptions this year as a sophomore, over 1,300 yards, and has caught 17 touchdowns. For Wake, it's not only going to be about stopping Kenny Pickett in the pocket, but also covering Addison in the field.
And we talk a lot about Kenny Pickett for Pittsburgh, but there's another good quarterback in this game for Wake Forest in Sam Hartman, top 10 in the country in yards, touchdowns, quarterback rating. He has been phenomenal for this Wake team that has struggled a little bit defensively. They're going to rely on the arm of Sam Hartman to try and get this win. Would be the first ACC championship in 15 years for this Wake Forest team. And for more on the Demon Deacons' magical season, we send it down to Aiden Butler.
After being picked by many to finish 5th place in the Atlantic Division this past season, the Wake Forest Demon Deacons have proved the doubters wrong and strung together one of the most memorable seasons in school history. The Wake Forest Demon Deacons come in with only their 2nd overall 10-win season in program history, and on Saturday will suit up for only their 2nd ever championship appearance. The Demon Deacons, with the 9th overall offense in the country, led by quarterback Sam Hartman, will certainly be a formidable match for the Pitt Panthers. The Demon Deacons, led by head coach Dave Clausen, who was recently named the ACC Head Coach of the Year, will have their work cut out for them come Saturday. The Demon Deacons are led by a plethora of super seniors and a school record All-ACC performers. The Wake Forest Demon Deacons have certainly strung together what has been one of the more magical seasons in college football history.
Good stuff, Aiden. Yeah, Wake Forest and Dave Clausen trying to get that 2nd ACC championship in program history. And Tyler, speaking of seconds, just the 2nd time these two teams are meeting up. Back in 2018, Pitt taking home a 34-13 blowout. Wake going to try and change that trend in a high-stakes ACC championship game.
Yeah, and an important night for both the Deacons and the Panthers as they're essentially fighting for a spot in a New Year's Six Bowl as well. And it'll be a beautiful night for football at 8 p.m. kickoff from Charlotte, North Carolina at Bank of America Stadium. It'll be 60 degrees and partly cloudy. You can also watch that game on ABC. Well, that'll do it for us here from the Moss Art Center in Blacksburg, Virginia. For my co-host Jake Lyman, our reporters Nels Williams, Aiden Butler, and Katie Adams, I'm Tyler Katz. Thanks you so much for watching, and we'll see you soon.